Welcome to Rapid Dawn. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning right here in the nation's capital. My name is Cynthia Agbo. I do hope that you're happy to be here this beautiful morning. Definitely, I'm not alone.
Of course, my name is Ugochukwu Madumere. Good morning. It's a Trendy Tuesday edition of the Breakfast Show, and today's show, of course, does open with lots of developments. Yesterday, Labour said they were going to be embarking on a strike. They had been talking about it all throughout last month. And eventually the D-Day came, the strike started, lots of organs of labor joining in that one. But apparently there was a meeting last night and there's a new development in regards to the industrial action that will form a major part of most of our conversations this morning, as well as everything that is trending out there.
All right, let's move on straight to health this beautiful morning. Next. All right. If you recall, we did bring you this grannies some time back, but very short one. And this time it's the longer version, and you could see that it's really, really cool. I like it. I think I would pay to watch them than the regulars. I mean, the younger ones.
This is what happens when people don't have to worry about minimum wage and hike in electricity tariff and all of the things that, I mean, imagine a 60, 70-year-old person in Nigeria, the kind of stuff that they have to deal with on a daily basis. And just oppose that with people the same age who are living the life of their dreams in faraway China. I mean, life no pass like this actually.
I don't really think that it's about having everything that you want. It's all about. I've seen people who go to school in their old age. It's just because they felt like they are missing out on something that they couldn't achieve before. So being a model, I think it's a way to occupy your mind, because old age could be um, being an adult, getting old could be very, very. I don't want to use. I want to use the right word, but it could be very boring sometimes, especially when um, maybe your kids are grown and they can't always be with you every time. And that's one thing about kids; they will not always be with you every time. So all the struggle you're struggling, they will still leave. And so when they leave, what happens? So yourself and your husband, that is if you're still married at a time, you're stuck with trying to make your life fun. For some people, they embrace church. You see them always going, they don't miss any service. Even if it is 6 a.m. service, they are there. 7 a.m. service, they are there. 6 p.m., 9 p.m. service, maybe for
Start
security reasons,
having
they are there.
favorite radio shows.
Aha! They start, and then if they are so excited, they could get the number of the show, and then be calling to
Yeah,
give their
yeah.
thoughts and telling you how it was in those days. So it's I think for the guys in China, it's a good thing. I personally will pay to watch the grannies on the runway. I think it's going to be very interesting, more exciting, very dramatic. I think it will give you. I mean, we are used to the regular young people, walking on the runway, but this one is. Imagine see your mom doing that, and she calls you and tells you, "Oh, I'm going to be on the runway
Your
next
mom can
week."
only do that if she has all of the things that she wants provided and doesn't have a care in this world. Have
No,
you ever wondered why people who are that age in Nigeria, if you see them in a group, what do? They argue, they talk politics. Some of them play, what's this thing? I call it draft or something like
the
that.
draft, yeah,
Yeah, that's what they do. You see them in beer palace, they gather.
beer
Sometimes,
palace.
yes, they banter.
Okay,
Basically, that's what old age in most parts of Nigeria looks like.
oh
But
well. No,
but,
I would disagree with you because some of the old people I know,
there are just a few of them who fall into that category where, oh, maybe they resort to going to church more often. Back then, when I was doing radio, there was even this old woman who was more popular than most of the presenters because on every show she would calling, you know. So I mean, it's I think environment and the economy plays a role in all of these things because you also want to think about how much these people are going to spend on the clothes that they are modeling because I mean you can model without clothes.
No, modeling. I mean, come on. We all know how modeling works. You don't buy your clothes.
So
if a modeling
how many
agency,
modeling agencies do we have? How many of them are viable enough to invest in old models, as it were?
okay, one thing you're forgetting is that when you bring models to a show to model your clothes, it's not you. Let's say you take a young model of about 2022. Are you going to give her a cloth of a grandma? Or do you think that our mothers and grannies don't wear clothes? Of course. So the problem we've always had is that we've not had people, designers or people in the fashion world who are innovative enough to say, okay, it's not every time you have a young person, all your clothes are just taken at young people. And then the question is it only young people that wear clothes? I mean, we go to events every day, we see our mommies and daddies. They dress up, they wear their agbada, their two-piece, they wear their... So you don't factor that in. I think the person who is organizing this, it's about creativity, it's about thoughtfulness, it's about being able to expand your mind because you sit and ask yourself in your room, wait, these people wear clothes, right? They go out. So why not we show other people what these people wear and what they can actually wear? Some mummies don't even know what to wear, depending on the kind of events. You just see them dress, they just dress. Do you get? So I think that we are not even tapping. This is not about economic situation. This is about we not expanding our creativity. I remember when we had the plus size models on the runway some time back, and people were like, "Oh!" And in my head, I'm like, "Why are you jubilating? Why are you excited? Does it mean plus size people don't wear clothes?" I mean, now if you check, there are mannequins for pot belly. I don't understand why you laugh.
I know some people in this office who would model those.
I did not say model. No. I said they are mannequins. Like because you go to the store, all the mannequins all have flat tummy, and then you begin to ask yourself, is it that everybody in this world have flat tummy?
You certainly
No.
have a point with regards to the fact that our fashion icons or people who are in the fashion industry are not exploring all of the spaces and angles there is to fashion and all of that. Because I mean, your basic fashion show, your average fashion show here in Nigeria, it culminates in having those, there's the crowd on this side, the crowd on this side, and then the models just come all the way to and they're usually very young, both male and female. So no one is thinking about, can't we even have older folks model these outfits? Because at the end of the day, it's not only, like you said, it's not only young people who wear clothes. Old people like to look good as well. So I mean, this is a message out there for our fashion legends, all of them, Jerry Swanky, what's her name again, Vicky James, and the rest of them. I mean, this is the time to take initiative. You could do a fashion show where it's basically about aged women or matured guys. It doesn't have to be young guys, the melanin popping and with the packs every time.
We have mommies and daddies with great skin as well and great body as well. So what are we talking about?
I mean, even if not, I mean, I think it would be good to showcase things that people can relate with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of if you're willing to, I think they say Nigerians are creative people. We are, but then I've been wondering why nobody has seen that this is an untapped. I think kudos to China. for this, because don't be surprised that very soon this will, I mean, they have already about 3 million followers already on their social media platform. Don't be surprised, this would be, it will grow to be something that it will be an industry of its own, where these people can say, okay, when we want to have our clothes, want to go for our own kind of fashion show, this is where we're going to go to. And doing it on the streets is actually, it's very strategic. Do you know that this can even serve as a fashion show on its own? Just put people on the street. Oh, the show is happening in so street, and these women walk and these men walk. I mean, it is amazing. We have beautiful streets in Abuja. We have beautiful streets in Lagos. We have beautiful streets in Port Harcourt. Why can't we have a fashion show on one of the streets? Come on. It's not that hard. Just put big lights everywhere.
I don't know if you follow the last time we had the Aba Fashion Weeks. There was this young boy that trended, for walking the runway. I think it was rocking. It was actually a designer T-shirt. It was a red designer T-shirt.
How far with that guy now? So many promises came out. We haven't heard anything.
I was even talking about the angle where the organizers look at that and say, "Wait a minute. Why don't we get all the children in Aba? Let's do something about children's fashion." Do you get? And then, I mean, that's definitely going to put Aba on the global fashion market, on the global fashion industry. Everyone will be talking about that.
Anyway, I hope that our creativity gets to that level. Until then, we keep hailing those that have been able to achieve it. All right, let's now move on to our new word for today. We have 2 new words that you have to learn. And let's start with the first one.
Now, that's an interesting one. Morgen Muffel.
It's a German word. Describes a person who is grumpy in the mornings and doesn't like to wake up early.
Oh my goodness.
I don't understand.
Okay. I certainly know a Morgen Muffel. Yeah.
Impactful. All right, let's move to the next word. Now, this is Tosca. Tosca, an immense ache for nothing and everything all at once, an anguish from the bottom of your heart, of the heart rather. That is Tosca.
I think this is, when you ask some people, how do you feel? They can't really explain it. Yeah, I think this word comes in handy. Tosca.
Yes.
They might be having a Tosca moment.
All right, so these are the new words for today, and I'm sure that you've been able to, hope you've been writing all our new words down. Maybe one day I will ask, but until then, keep writing them down. So it could form a larger part of your vocabulary, or rather, it would broaden your mind. So when people use this word, sometimes you are not surprised. Yeah, I've heard it somewhere. I heard it on the morning show. All right, so let's now move on to Mexico. With the 5 minutes that we have, where they have a new president-elect. And the story broke out yesterday, and everyone have been happy. Everyone have been happy that the new president, the 61-year-old Claudia, is the newly elected president of Mexico. But the question is, how well do we know Claudia? Some people call her a climate scientist, and of course, which is what she is. She is married, and first married in first marriage and second marriage. She's in a second marriage now, and she has been in the power sector for a very long time. I mean, in the power scene for a very long time. And it's good. Now, some people are not exactly happy with with this victory. And how do we know this? It's because of some of the comments. Let's have some of the comments on the screen, bolder. This one says, bad news for Mexico. And this one says, not really. It's a re-election. She's just a puppet. And this one says, welcome to Venezuela. Now, when you hear welcome to Venezuela, it just means that there've been a tussle between Mexico and Venezuela. This one says, puppet of the WEF, not my president. And let's move to the next one. This one says, that's not good. Terrible news. I mean, there are also some people who are happy, like this one says, great news. And we also have other comment. This one says, how sad. Another stolen election. Reminds me of Nigeria when we were screaming stolen election. This one says, she's with the party of the Democratic Revolution, a leftist. This is not good for Mexico. This one says, fraud. Me and thousands of Mexicans abroad were denied the right to vote. I documented when the doors were locked in our faces. I will publish the news. So many comments that are not really exciting, but some persons are happy. Others are not happy, while others have mixed feelings regarding the emergence of the new president. Now, this one says, I'm a Mexican woman, and the least I care about is that she's a woman. It would be good for the media outside Mexico to take full coverage of what the Mexicans really think about our new elected president, who clearly, as you may see on your comment, does not represent us.
I mean, that's lots of hateful and spiteful comments there. But then again, when there are political developments like this, you do not expect everyone to fall in line. It's a little bit surprising because in that region, in the South American region, she's not the first female to ever emerge president of a country in El Salvador. Claudia Rodriguez de Guevara is acting president at the moment. So I don't know why they are crying foul. I think by now the world should have gotten to the point where people who claim to practice democratic government should be open-minded to developments like this. I really do not know where the comments are coming from. Probably from her track record or antecedents in previous offices where she's occupied. I mean, you might never know. But then again,
people are not having a problem because she's a woman. No, that's not the problem.
So
the problem is the party. The problem is the party, and the problem is that people just feel, many of the people who are complaining feel that she was, I mean, there was no other person that would have been qualified enough in the party to stand in for that position, because, I mean, the previous or the current president cannot run again and will not run again. So she is the next person who in the world qualified to run. Now, we're not going to join the people over there, some of the people over there, to undermine her, but then you could see that there's some reasons as to why some people have issues with the new president-elect. Now, they have not really liked her thoughts and views towards social issues, especially when she has openly identified herself as a feminist, aligning her beliefs and action with the principles of gender equality and women's rights. Now, she advocates for the legalization of abortion, and which, of course, you know, abortion is a very sensitive issue. And she has also aligned her stance with broader movements aimed at promoting reproductive rights. Now, during her leadership in Mexico, she championed the LGBT rights by implementing a gender-neutral policy for school uniforms. This, of course, you know, and then in 2022, she became the first head of government of Mexico to attend the city's Pride March. So, yes, she might have other, I mean, so many good things. Now, as a climate scientist, some people have also undermined some of the things that she stands for in that area as well. So I think there's so many things that form the basis of displeasure coming from the people. But then again, like I always like to say, you don't win, you don't win. You are stuck with this person. There's nothing you can do about it at this point. So congratulations to the people of Mexico, your new president-elect, female, and let's hear the speech that she made yesterday regarding her election.
Porque por primera vez en 200 años de la República me convertiré en la primera mujer presidenta de México. No llego sola. llegamos todas, con nuestras heroínas que nos dieron patria, con nuestras ancestras, nuestras madres, nuestras hijas y nuestras nietas. Felicito a todas y a todos los mexicanos que el día de hoy, con su participación, demostramos que México es un país democrático con elecciones pacíficas.
That was a very short speech from her there. All right, if you look at your time, it's 8, which is time for sports. And did you know that before the match in Uyo, there was a charity match organized by Trust Ekong where he had lots of celebrities right there at that event. But a particular picture I've been trending, which is a picture of Sabinos, and it's let's have that picture on the screen where he played, and I think there's a particular kick he gave, which any moment from now, Chelsea if he signed Sabinos. I really don't know how he did that. And then someone talked about, let's go up to get the comments below.
Sabinos, the last ball bender. That's interesting.
So whoever took that picture did a great job. And
But it's ironic because the picture does not capture the. I mean, it gives a false impression of what actually happened. Because when you look at the picture, you feel like, oh wow, he must have played such a beautiful shot. But when you see the video behind the shot, you'd really be disappointed.
But it doesn't matter. What matters is that now the conversation where people were happy or surprised was that, I mean, a person like himself, you would think would not be able to carry his body so well due to his size. But then, seeing him being able to do that kind of kick, whether it was a false kick or a real kick, or but at least it just shows that
The shot was it was nowhere near the target.
it doesn't matter. Even if now on top of the net it hits, but
He eventually even scored a penalty in the match.
you see he scored.
That was the moment when he now took off his clothes and was waving his jersey all around.
So Chelsea might sign him.
No, thanks.
Why?
We appreciate,
Maybe where Sabinos come, people can be able to win something,
we appreciate the kind gesture.
even if
but
it's a glass
thanks.
cup. All right, up next is sports. Welcome back. It's still Rapid Dawn right here in the nation's capital. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. It's Rapid Dawn right here. And I must say that great songs that we've been treating you to, but that is not what we have for today. It is Trendy Tuesday, and it is very important for us to talk about the trendy conversation, which all of us, I mean, it's not new to us. We all know that it is on the minimum wage this beautiful morning. And the NLC have come out to say that the strike is not called off yet until all of their members have agreed upon it. But there was a meeting yesterday night where an agreement was reached. The details of the agreement did not include any specific amount. Let's have that video on the screen of the meeting they had yesterday.
Labor declared nationwide.
Okay, so that was the meeting that was held last night. Even though there was no specific amount mentioned right there in there was a statement that was released. I think let's have that statement on the screen. That was released afterwards saying that they have reached an agreement. But I looked throughout that statement, there was no amount listed there. And saying that the NLC and the federal government has agreed. What is an agreement without an amount?
Well, they did say that there would be meetings with regards to deciding from 60,000 upwards. Yes, no specific...
Which will be held for 1 week.
Yes, no specific amount was mentioned, but at least it gives us an idea that they are not going below 60,000.
No, I mean, there's no way to go below 60,000 because they said they came from below 60,000. Okay, so now the thing is, let's look at the effect. Okay, so the spokesperson for the president, Ajuri Gelale, did put out series of implications of, you know, the effects of the NLC's demand. Let's have that on the screen. The effects of the NLC's demand, which he took his time to state what this. Okay, so he talked about mass job losses across sectors at the time. We're looking at job opportunities, and he talked about you are going to mandate schools to pay cooks, janitors, and others 20 times more in wages. What then would it mean is that if the schools do not close down, there will be mass retrenchment. Let's go to the next one. He also talked about what we all agree to is that the minimum wage is today unsustainably low, but going by labor's demand, Nigeria parents will now have to grapple with school fees that are 10 times more than what they are paying today. We also need to look at the prices of food items, which of course we talked about yesterday as well. Let's move to the next one. He also mentioned, let's have the next slide, please. Okay, so he's talking about the idea you are going to mandate them to pay as much as 20 times whatever they are paying their staff within that small business is uncharitable. You know, you are essentially mandating the closure of that business and indirectly sacking an entire set of people who have families because the business will close down as they cannot live up to the minimum wage organized labor is asking. He went on and he talked about if you're going to move from the current minimum wage of 30,000 to about 500,000 per month, if labor has its way, what impact will this have on the citizens of the country? I don't want to say that everything he has stated is valid. And that is why before we join in the agitation, I think we need to sit back, because if you say minimum wage, it should cut across board, but the state level, the federal level, private organizations. So you're not going to be agitating for increase of wage, and then in your office as a business owner, you still want to pay your worker peanuts.
Well, he does make a good argument when he begins to highlight what the implications of this decision, if taken, would have on the economy generally. Um, it looks interesting, actually, that our leaders can think about implications. Because, I mean, we've had a lot of, what's it now, increase in a lot of things. The price of fuel, electricity tariff, the naira to dollar rate, all of this have gone up significantly. So are you trying to tell me that you people did not think about what implications were going to be on the Nigerian populace, on the economy? So suddenly, because now money is going to come in out of your coffers, you're suddenly paying more attention to implications.
I wouldn't put it that way, but anyway, we have a guest in the studio this morning. She's going to be joining us in the conversation regarding the minimum wage, the NLC's back and forth strike, and the effects, the implications, and how possible is this going to be if this minimum wage has to be, because whether we like it or not, whether the minimum wage is 100,000, you have to increase. And of course, you don't expect a person who you're paying 500,000, for example, right now, when this minimum wage is implemented, that person will no longer be paid 500,000. We need to put that in perspective. Whoever is earning 20,000 naira now, and the person who is earning 200,000 naira now, you still have to implement that minimum wage. Let's make that very, very clear. All right, so we have Ifunanya Duka. She's here in the studio with us. She's the Chief Operating Officer for Ready to Lead Africa. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
Fine, very well. I'm sure you've been keeping yourself up to date with the conversations of the NLC.
Absolutely.
Now, but the first thing, would you want the new minimum wage?
Realistically speaking, it would be nice, right, to have the new minimum wage implemented, but I don't think it is realistic. I mean, it is not realistic as at the times that we are in right now.
What are the times that we are in?
Just like you said, right, if we are implementing this minimum wage at the government level, then it must cut across board. Right, I was having a conversation with my boss yesterday, and he put it into perspective that, what this means is that we're going to have to start paying our janitor 500k. And I mean, it's not possible. Where are we getting that money from as a non-profit? Where are business owners getting that money from running their businesses? So it's just going to, we have to put a lot of things into perspective before we are either citing the government or the Labour Congress at this point.
Okay, so on which side? I really need you to put yourself in the side.
Okay.
In as much as you are in a position where you have to pay people salaries and the likes, but I need you to pick a side. Now, the government, but first, before you pick a side, let's look at the pattern of the NLC. I'm always one who, whenever the NLC comes up with the strike action, I'm like, in 3, 2, 1. We've agreed. Right?
Yes.
And when this one started yesterday, I was like, I felt bad because I didn't have light due to the blackout. But aside from that, I knew it wasn't going to last for long. So, I mean, since Joe Ajaero came into power as the NLC president, some people argue that the last influential NLC president we had was Adams Oshomole. And since Adams Oshomole, we've not really had a strong NLC president. But now we have Joe Ajaero. He has in fact, he has agitated for strike many times than normal, right? And
Yes.
all of these strike actions, it seems like for every strike actions that come up, it's being watered down. So let's look at, do you think that the NLC still has what it takes, to hold the government to certain demands?
Largely, yes. The NLC has what it takes to hold the government to certain demands. But I also think the NLC, with its trend, just like you rightly said, has lost the trust in its people. Because people will think that, I mean, after this agitation, 1 day, 2 days, they're going to go back and probably the government will have some conversations with them and they are just going to let it all slide down. And that makes the people lose trust in what exactly the NLC is set to do for the people. I mean, this strike, the overarching goal is for us to earn better because the cost of living has become just incredible. It has become too much, and the minimum wage is no longer feasible. In fact, I like to call it the living wage at this point. It's no longer feasible, right? So what they're agitating for is great, but then do we trust the NLC at this point? Do we think that they actually have the best interest of the citizens at heart? Do we think that if government calls them tomorrow for a closed door meeting, they are actually going to have our interest first and foremost before their individual interests? So I think those are some of the questions that the Nigerian citizens have in their hearts that makes them not to have as much trust in the system, the NLC, as it should ideally have.
All right.
Now, there's been a lot of conversation about how realistic the demands of labor, is. And I mean, you heard her reel out all of the implications by her during Galale, and what I had to say about that. What it does appear is that when it has to do with what the government stands to benefit, in quote, it's as if they're more relaxed. It's as if, we're blind to what the implications are. But when it has to do with the common masses, there's now a long list of reasons why it cannot work. For instance, how much are our senators earning? How much are they earning in allowances? You have to look at all of these things. No, I mean, when conversations like this come up on the floor of the National Assembly, you don't find the senators saying, let's think about the implications for the economy or what it stands to, the disadvantages.
True.
I mean, there's even more, let's pass it very quickly. Let's go for an increase in the allowances and all of that. And most of these allowances are ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, how do you now expect the common man to understand that, because they are making certain demands, you are now saying it has implications?
So it has implications for both the government and the private sector, right? As an employer, I'm unable to pay the minimum wage of 500,000 naira, realistically speaking, right? And the NLC is not fighting for just civil servants, right? Even though they're probably going to be the first people to enjoy this new minimum wage when it comes, because I mean, business will have to adjust, private sectors will have to adjust, and all of that. So the NLC is not just fighting for civil servants, you're also fighting for people who are in private employment, and that is not very realistic for business owners. While I get your point, absolutely, the senators have they earn a ridiculous amount of monies, and that makes it hard for us to also believe the government, because what we see in paper, the data we see is that Nigeria is owing, there's a lot of debts, we don't have money, but then they are renovating the presidential villa for crazy amounts of money. The senators are earning crazy amounts of money. So it's really hard, to actually trust and understand the point of view of the government, because I mean, it's like you're saying this other thing and you're doing some other thing. Let us actually see you do something. Let us actually see you be empathetic by actually reducing this amount of money that you earn that is not necessary, right? So that we can also believe that there really is no money. So I'm still trying to understand or come from the point of view of both parties, both the government and the NLC, and it's the NLC's ask is a lot, but
so
I mean,
for you, what would be a more acceptable demand by labor?
You want me to give a amount?
Yeah. I mean, if you can put a figure to it.
Oh no, I can't put a figure to it. But what I would say is that the NLC should come to the negotiation table again and come to something more realistic.
Hey, that's what we're saying. What is that realistic thing?
I mean, I wouldn't give a particular figure right now, but I think 494K.
Because it now looks as if labor is in the middle of government saying, you guys are unreasonable. And then there's even the other side of those who are not exactly labor, who are also saying, come to something that's more realistic. But nobody wants to put a figure to it, so it can even help them in negotiations. I mean, I believe they would be open to public opinion on issues like this.
I agree. While I absolutely agree with you, right? I feel a lot of data is gotten, a lot of things are thought about behind the scenes before they come to a particular figure. So I can't really sit here and just come up with a random figure that I feel is feasible.
An argument by labor when governments came forward with 60,000 was that, okay, can you tell us, government, this 60,000 that you have proposed, what and what makes up the 60K? And if you do an analysis of that amount, for a worker who earns 60,000, I mean, divide that by the number of times he has to go to work, you'd realize that in a day he has, let's say, 2005 or 27 or something in that range. And you and I know that for somebody with a family, that does not go anywhere.
True.
So I mean, if we're saying, okay, what could they do more? I think we should help labor in their demand or in their agitation to say, look, guys, let's leave it at 150, let's leave it at 100, let's leave it at 200. And I mean, if you even look at some of our neighbors who are oil producing nations who are not as viable as Nigeria, Gabon, Ivory Coast, they are living what we call minimum wage. Their living wage is far higher. You know,
True.
some of them in the region of 200, 190, and so on and so forth. Why does that one have to be so different?
So like I have said over and over again, right? The minimum wage that is being agitated by the Labour Congress is going to affect both the private sector and the public sector as well, right? I imagine I have younger siblings who are going to school, and if the school decides to pay the janitor 10 times what they are paying them now, my dad is going to have to pay 10 times the school fees, right? And where are we getting that money from? So all of these things have to be on the table when we're having this conversation. We have to be realistic. I mean, it's good to have this much money for living wage, but where do we get that money from as it is? I believe that we should have it, we should consider it a step-by-step approach, right? I mean, we're coming from 30,000. Where are we going next? I mean, from that to 500K just seems like a lot.
Okay, all right. I think that the next thing would be, what do you have for the Labour Congress? What would you advise the Labour Congress at this point, since for the next 1 week they will be having meetings?
So I'd advise the Labour Congress to actually sit at the negotiation table. While the strike is good, because it makes the government know that we are serious, they are serious, it actually affects the people that it's intended to help. I haven't had lights the whole of yesterday and up to this morning, and I've not been able to do as much work as I should do, right? And it's affecting me. I imagine a senator wouldn't be having the same problem as I am having, right? So they should actually come to the negotiation table, having it at the back of their mind that some of these strike actions, some of these actions are affecting the people that they seek to help more than they probably even know at this point. I mean, can they give us back our lights? Can we start from there? So I'd advise Labour to actually come to the negotiation table to understand what exactly the government can do, and probably put some timelines to it to also help the government come up to that level of minimum wage that they're asking for, or that they will ask for after the negotiation.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Ifunanya Duka, for having this conversation with us.
Thank you.
I don't know
Thank you
if
for
you have any
having
more
me.
questions.
I mean, I think that's about it.
All right, we'll go on a very short break. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
All right. So it is really really sad how, I mean, women take a whole lot of risk, a whole lot, a whole lot, and there are also like you had the body that was found, no head, no hands, and I think no legs as well. It's just so sad. Which leads us to, would that be called organ harvesting? Or no, not organ harvesting, because
Rituals, maybe.
ritual purposes probably, but then we are still waiting for update on the body, because that body has not, as at this morning, the body has not been identified. So you can't say if it is one of the girls or if it's another girl, because another girl has come out to speak, which sent a message to Harrison yesterday that she was raped by this very man. The big question that everyone is asking right now is, where is Andrew? And if he is dead, where is his body? How do you go to see a man who the name of his company is Black Sheep Group? That should tell you that there's something not right. Now, a deeper search into the person of Andrew Ochekwa is that he ran out of the UK due to he had a case in the UK where it's alleged that he molested or raped someone in the UK, and he has charges on that, and he ran away. Because now the question now is, wouldn't you think it is suspicious for a man who shows so much flamboyancy and from the UK, and then decides to go live in a deep bush?
Not in Lagos, not in
Not
Port Harcourt,
exactly.
not in Abuja, in Aba.
That means it is said that
Apologies
he's probably
to our Aba people. We're not
no,
not in
no.
any way to talk
No,
down
no,
on
no, I
the beautiful
mean-
city of Aba. But then again, if you have to rate cities in Nigeria in terms of how urban and metropolitan they are, I mean, Aba would probably come maybe 10th or 11th or 12th. There are lots of cities that are ahead of Aba in that particular regard. Well, this is all nice and good, the developments that we have arising from this case, but there's a little concern I have. I want to commend Mr. Harrison for all of his efforts so far, but I hope he's also allowing the professionals to do due diligence on some of these issues. On one of those videos, he was pointing out blood and all of that. These are things that the forensics department of the police should be handling. So it's good that he's bringing all of his resources, which, I mean, ordinarily is unusual.
Before you start saying the forensic, who even discovered the house? Who discovered all these things? It wasn't the police. He was the one
that's what I'm saying.
who put his energy
putting
into
together
it.
a lot of resources into this, but I hope in doing all of this, he also is allowing the professionals to do. I mean, the expectation or the what we all hope for is that at the end of the day we can come to a conclusive conclusion that, oh, this is what actually happened to these girls. Were they killed? Was Mr. Andrew the man who actually killed them? And of course provide evidence to that particular fact. So all of this can be messed up if you don't allow the right people to handle evidences and exhibits.
And who are the right people? Because I mean, for one, the police.
So that's what I'm saying. He has the resources.
The perpetrator was there. They allowed him go and said he was
he has
killed.
the resources. He has the resources. That's what I'm saying. I hope he has the right team of security agencies to carry out the investigation. That's all it is from my end.
Anyway, that's so much we can take on the show this morning. It's 9:45. Look at your time. And I think that's been a very good day. As the day progresses, we get to see if there will be any change before the end of today regarding what is going on. We just hope that people will be able to travel, people will be able to do the things that they have to do, because it almost seems like everything is on a pause. My name is Cynthia Agbo. Don't forget that you can follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can visit our website on
www.arianradiotv.com. Ugochukwu Madimere is my name. Adios.